Hi guys, and welcome to my review for the JUZEAR 41T. This is their latest release. It's a OnePlus 4, and although usually I like giving it a little bit more time to listen to an IEM, a little bit more carefully, and before I start giving my ideas and thoughts about it, I thought it would be perhaps a good opportunity for those that might be interested to take advantage of the discounted price that you can get it for now, which is roughly $127. And as such, I decided to, okay, let me listen to this as much as I possibly can, do some comparisons with the two references that I usually use in this segment at this price point, and that's it. Anyway, this is the box. It's got like this design texture on it, but very simple, very understated. Take out the sleeve, open up the box, and inside a basic set of accessories, which is acceptable. Okay, the IMs came over there. It brings these nice foam tips actually. They kind of remind me of the foam tips that you got, the blue ones from 10 HiFi. The only issue I have is that they could have been a little bit more selective with regards to the silicone tips. These silicone tips, I've seen them before, I've used them before, and actually with the 41T, they don't do the 41T justice. Excuse me. They don't do the 41T justice. The 41T deserves better tips to really shine. But anyway, like I said, this is the accessories package. It's not a bad accessories package with regards to what it offers. I'll show you the rest of it now in a second. Let me just quickly put this away. So the tips are perhaps its little minor issue, but on the other hand, you get a nice little carrying pouch. Okay, fake leather, but it's a nice little carrying pouch. Cleaning, and you'll understand why they give you a cleaning cloth now in a second when I show you the actual IEM. Okay, and then they bring a very, very nice cable. I mean, this is honestly one of the nicest cables I've seen in a long time. Really way above. Look at that, nice thick gauge, good accessories. It genuinely looks the part. The cable genuinely looks the part. And to be totally honest, I swapped it over for an XINHS, but sonically I didn't perceive any difference. I just swapped it over to the XINHS because I like the look of the XINHS. I don't know, I just like this kind of huge gauge that they use, and this particular one is one of the nicest cables they've actually got. Anyway, that's that there. Let's show you now the 41Ts. I'll call them 41Ts from now on. They come in a full resin shell, which is very nicely done. Very nicely done. I mean, the quality of the resin looks the part. It's not Moondrop S8 quality. No, it's not, because that's kind of like crystal clean. This is, I would say, 95% there. Okay, 92, 95% there. You can easily see the drivers inside. According to them, it is using a 10mm dynamic driver, Sonian 2356, if I'm not mistaken, BAs for the mids, and two 31735s, if I'm not mistaken, Knolls for the highs. That's the information I got. Whether it's that or not, I don't know. We can never be sure. That's the reality. But anyway, they fit beautifully. No issues with the fit. No issues with the isolation. I mean, look at that. That's really nice. The design of the faceplate is very. It's kind of got this old school vibe to it, with that kind of that little piece of wood there, where it looks like wood. Okay. It's nice. It's classy, nice. Although it's a little bit on the old school side, not as modern, let's put it, as some of the other offerings or the more common offerings. But what it matters in terms of fit, perfect, isolation, perfect, nothing to be said there. Okay. So what did well, as I said, I listened to it basically the whole of yesterday, or a good 7-8 hours yesterday. I let it play during the night, and I've been listening to it now the majority of the day as well today, and did some comparisons already. Although all of this is not enough to perhaps give me a 100% ideal opinion like I like to give you guys, this is not a difficult one to also have an opinion on, because from the moment I put it on, I knew it was well tuned. It was immediate. It is very well tuned, period. If anything, the one thing that you do notice is because of its high impedance, 48 ohms, you find yourself putting the volume a little higher than what usually I like doing. And it's actually surprising because it's got 112 dBs supposedly sensitivity. And just for a quick comparison, I mean the Hisenior, the Mega 5P, which is one of the IEMs that I've been comparing it to, it's got a 19 ohm impedance and the same sensitivity, and on the same volume this thing is like really pumping, and over here it's very chill, very relaxed. So that would be the one thing that I would call attention to, which is you will perhaps require something that has a little bit more power than usual. Okay, let's get straight into what we want to know. What does it sound like then, Akros? Tell us. Okay, Hisenior Mega 5P, a full Performer 5. The Mega 5P, well, it was kind of an IEM that shook a little bit what was possible to obtain in that roughly $200 price bracket. Initially was available for $189, and then the price has gone up to $239. Although you can sometimes get it with discounts, and if you use my discount code, you can get it down to, I believe, $199. It's a kind of it's always very complicated to give an idea of or not give an idea, but to say, oh, this has got this V signature, that signature. Okay, I've heard people call it a V signature. I don't think it's a V signature. For me, a V signature, you have to have, for me personally, 8 dBs from the lowest point to the bass, 8 dBs from the lowest point to the highest point of the mids. If those two criteria for me omit, then that's a V. You then have various grades of V. Harmon as well. We already know how the Harmon is, and then you have various grades of Harmon. The Mega 5P for me is a kind of a neutralish Harmon kind of a tune. Okay. It's got a lush sound. It's a nice, engaging, cozy sound. The bass is perfect. It's just the right amount of bass. Good slam, good layering, good resolution. Vocals are done impeccably. There's nothing that can be pointed out in terms of the vocals. Timbre and tonality, which is always what I like and I look for. Even though if it's colored, I've mentioned this before, even though if it's colored, as long as it's done nicely, it's done tastefully, that's one of the things that I appreciate. Perfect, top marks there. Very immersive in its ability to give a nice 3D presentation. Soundstage is wide enough. Detail retrieval, again, also decent enough. And imaging, spot on. What were the real issues with it, in my opinion? And I mean, I always say this, let's be realistic when we nitpick and when we point out failures. Honestly, in terms of the location of the vent, it sometimes can get blocked and cause a little bit of driver flex. That's one issue that I sometimes encounter. I understand that they have now redesigned that, and that no longer is a problem. So the newer Mega 5Ps won't have that issue. And then in terms of the actual sound, the technicalities or something, the soundstage is wide. It's got a nice 3D presentation, but it could be a little bit deeper. Okay, and also sometimes in some specific songs, with some specific songs, you can get a feeling of it getting a little bit congested. Okay, I heard some people complain or mention that it kind of rolled off in the highs and so on and so forth. Well, I'm not gonna say that can't be the case. It all depends on everybody, you know. But truthfully, I didn't really. I think it's got ample extension on both ends. The mids are beautifully. It's a very nice. Actually, I remember when I reviewed this, I compared the graph of it with the Manga T2. And that was a very, very pleasant surprise how similar they are, and actually how very similar the sound of the two are. Okay, so that's Mega 5P, a full Performer 5. For me, the best hybrid that you can buy at $200, and probably one of the best hybrids you can get at up to, I would say, I'm going to be bold now, at up to $600. From the construction, which is top marks. I mean, 3D printing, very well conceived. You know, the crossover network they've used inside, the driver selection, everything has been done perfectly. Top marks there. It's also a 1+4 configuration. Just to clarify that as well. The difference here is that it's using an 8mm driver as opposed to the 10mm driver in the Hisenior. What else? Again, very natural sounding, very, you know, it's a very inviting kind of a sound, natural tonality. The resolution is absolutely top marks in my opinion. The bass is clean. It has very much although it hasn't been tuned purposely in that aspect. It's got a very much a subwoofer kind of a feel. So it's amazing what this little 8mm driver can do. Detail retrieval, top marks, really good. It's the best in terms of detail retrieval, but I'll get to the comparisons a little bit more in more detail in a second. You know, clean bass, excellent texture, mids are to die for, plenty extension up top, so detail retrieval, top marks. Soundstage is you know, 3D-ness, again, amazing. I mean, really, no true issue. What are the negative points? It is a little bit tip dependent. It will need a little bit of some power as well to really shine, because it's a 35 ohm impedance, so it needs a little bit of some power to let it shine, to really come alive. And the soundstage, although this is going to sound weird, but the soundstage somehow kind of seems source dependent. And by source, I mean, for example, with the Shio, very nice. But if I use the same, for everything exactly the same, and if I use an AKM 4493, it just, I don't know, it just closes it down. Okay, so this is something which is a little bit depends a little bit on what you're gonna use as a source. And again, sometimes it feels a little bit congested, but this is me really, come on guys, I'm really nitpicking here. I'm really like, you know, like for example, if I take Spring One from Max Richter, you have to listen to the song obviously to understand what I'm saying. But there are IEMs that you're playing that song and you're getting all the the instruments at various points and everything is always done with effortless ease, everything. And any one of these three, mind you, any one of these three, you notice that it reaches a point, especially if you are tinkering with the volume, that it seems like it's running out of steam. It doesn't really honestly run out of steam, and it does it really well. But that's the perception that you can get. Okay. Finally, onto the 41T. Bass, amazing. The bass is very much the bass on the bass quality and bass level of the Mega 5P. In that department, perfect. Very nice slam, everything. It doesn't have the ultimate little sub bass of the A-Full. That's the only thing. The A-Full is the best in terms of sub bass, in terms of mid bass and bass. They all very equal. And I mean, this is honestly, I was very surprised. I wasn't, to be truthful, I was not expecting it. Tonality and timbre, again, top marks. I mean, any one of these three in that aspect is done perfectly. Timbre and tonality in any one of these three is spectacular, honestly, really good. It's again a very easy listen, okay, very easy, it's got a very inviting sound. What is the difference that you notice that you pick up, and you pick up more between the 41T and the full, and not so much with the Hisenior, is that it's a little bit less detailed up top. So the above, let's say above 6-7K area, there continues to be loads of twinklies and sparklies here, while here they're still there, but they've come down a notch. It could be my ears, obviously, but the reality is it's less. So maybe for some it will be fine, maybe for others they might find it lacking. It all depends on what you like. Personally, it didn't bother me. It's fine. It's perfect. The difference is not a humongous difference, okay? Compared to the Mega 5P, they kind of trade blows in that aspect. I mean, there are songs where you get the perception the Mega 5P's got a little bit more detail. There are other songs where you get that perception from the 41T. So I can't really say there's an outright winner or loser here, okay? What is the other issue, or what is the additional? What is one of the issues that it has, the 41T, as compared to either one of these two? And I think it's down to the fact that it's a little bit less detailed up top. The 3D is not as big. So although in terms of detail above 6K, these two are very similar, but this one has really good 3D, and you have that sense of space. Over here, it's less so. Okay, it doesn't have as big of that 3D presentation. What I did find that the 41T is very much dependent, and it's the most dependent out of all of these, is tips. And the tips are the ones that will dictate how it will sound up top. Okay, the stock tips for me are a no-go. The foam tips are a no-go as well. These BGVPs or KB ears, these 07, the cyan color, the medium sized in my particular case, perfect. If you use the BGVP wide bores as well, perfect. If you use the yellow ones as well, perfect. So this wants a nice wide bore to help out then overcome that smaller soundstage, okay, that more cozy kind of soundstage. And again, it also suffers a little bit from the same issue that the other two suffer, which is that congestedness in the sound sometimes. But I mean, this is like really, I mean, look, I listened to Swept Away, which is one of my go-to songs from Carol Duboc. Perfect. What You Gonna Do from Frank McComb, perfect. You know, Feel Good from Rashaan Peterson, absolutely amazing. You listen to all the details, everything is just done impeccably. And even if I changed the styles and I went for something like Paul Hardcastle's Puerto Banús, plenty detail, plenty of everything, the high, everything. It was really good. There's really nothing that I can falter, especially when I consider the price. And I mean, for $130, you get this type of quality, this type of sound reproduction. This is worthwhile keeping an eye on. I mean, I'm not going to tell you, oh, you own these two, go out and get it because, no, I'm not going to tell you that. But if you are in the market for a OnePlus 4 and, what you have is around $130 and you want something really unique, in the sense that I wasn't expecting it, in the sense that it plays really well, way above its pay grade, definitely this is an IEM that's worth considering. Definitely. I mean, even at the normal price, which is around $164, it's still a good deal. It is still a good deal. There's still a good $60 difference to the $70 difference to the Mega 5P, and there's about a $45 to $50 difference to the full. Of the three, I'm not going to deny the full is the better IEM. The full is the better IEM, but again, it's a little bit of an outlier because the price that it has, it's just unreal. I mean, I think that if the full was priced at $270, it would still be the success that it's been. It would still be. So this is kind of, in terms of its price, is kind of the one that came and break every rule. Let's put it that way. In terms of sound, it is the best one as well. Okay, it is. As compared to the Hisenior, they very much trade blows. Honestly, they very much trade blows. It's a real tough one for me to call which is the better option. And that's it, guys. I'll show you now quickly the graphs. And honestly, very pleasant surprise. And as many times is the case, an unknown brand, something that really, you didn't really expect anything. And I couldn't have been more happy with the money I spent on this. I really couldn't. Absolutely top marks. I mean, it gets, if I have to rate, let's say, out of 5, this gets an easy 4. An easy 4. Really good. Okay. Anyway, guys, I'll show you the graphs now. Hi, guys. So, onto the graph section now. And this is the graph straight away of the 41T. Everything stays within a window of, so 81, okay, 81, yeah, to 89, so 8 dBs roughly, okay. Sub-bass focus, very nice gentle glide into the bass, into the mid bass, into the mids, and then an early pinna gain, you could say, but because it's also very smooth, you don't really notice any strangeness in the sound. Peaks at around 2.5, then comes down slowly, and then a little peak there, and then comes down. So it's got kind of that harmonish vibe. Some extension past 8K based on using, as I said, the 07 tips, which kind of opened up a little bit more that top end. As compared to the Hisenior Mega 5P, I think it speaks for itself. Where the Mega 5P sometimes it seems to have a little bit more detail in terms of the detail retrieval, I think it has to do with this little extra amount of energy that it's got here in the mids to upper mid transition. A little bit more detail there as well in the treble. Okay, and the fact that the above, well, the 10K area is more linear, not as up and down. Okay, all of that allows it to have just a little extra detail retrieval as compared to the 41T. I mean, it's not a big difference, trust me, but that's what it is. As compared to the full Performer 5, let me just put this in a different color so it stands out a bit more. There we go, in black. As compared to the full, again, very similar graph as you can see, but the graph here in terms of its sub-bass is not 100% the reality. There is more sub-bass than what you actually perceive to exist. And then the rest is, I mean, look, you can see both have mids to die for. Their full stays within, again, a window of around 82 to 90, so 8 dBs as well. It's this area here which makes the full stand out. Okay, the treble, upper treble area, so the presence and brilliance area, way more information on the and it's noticeable. Obviously, if the song has it. If the song doesn't have it, you won't notice it. But overall, look, it is what it is. So yeah, guys, I mean, that's it. I mean, just for the sake of a quick comparison with something else different, this is the Manga T2, okay? And look at that. Manga T2, again, very similar in the graph. I briefly listened to it, and the 41T, just a slight more detail in the mids to upper mids as compared to the Mangad. And then the Mangad, which is something that's always done that. Again, this area of the treble to upper treble presence to brilliance area, it's got a lot more detail than what you would think the graph shows. And I mean, if I have to compare it, let me just take out the 41T, and if I have to compare it to the Mega 5P, you can see that the similarity is very disturbing. I mean, it wasn't in vain that I mentioned what I mentioned about the Mega 5P when I reviewed it. Anyway, guys, enough of that. As always, like and subscribe. The YouTube gods require there to be engagement. Otherwise, people don't look for my channel. My videos don't come up first. And I mean, as I mentioned yesterday, I do this because I've got a true passion, but I want to see kind of a little bit of a compensation, let's put it that way, for this effort that I put into, and a compensation in terms of seeing people actually liking my channel, engaging and becoming subscribers. That's the biggest compensation I'm looking for. I'm not looking for a monetary compensation. If that happens, well, all the better. But my satisfaction is knowing that I'm reaching a large group of people, that the people like my content. I know I'm not going to please everybody, but that's the main reason. I want to be able to share my experiences, my knowledge with you guys. You guys, in return, share yours with mine, with me, and we grow, we improve, we discover new things. That's what it's all about. It's listening to music, discovering things about music, discovering things about IMs, about products, and that's it. All right. Anyway, guys, you take care. Have a nice one.